If you've got a thirst for knowledge and a love for craft beer, then tune in to our podcast and let us bend your ear. From UFOs to rock and roll, you'll be ROTFL, you're AO. Saying, are you shitting me?
You say your cat was fucking with you this morning?
My cat was fucking with my computer.
Oh, it's doing its own research?
Yeah, he wrote a paper. It's a
Meow, 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 meow.
I'm like, there are no nines in that word, sir. Why would you write it with a 9? Like 300 of them.
Okay, you ready?
Waiting on you.
Okay. Okay, welcome to another episode of Are You Shitting Me? Today I'm sitting with my co-host, as always, Brett. How you doing, Brett?
Hi, Chuck. That was a great intro.
Yeah, thanks. A little bit short and sweet.
It is. That's the way to do it, man. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you very much. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a different topic, I think. It's going to be off a skit that's on Saturday Night Live. It's called Washington's Dream with Nate Bargatze, which had some really good notoriety after it came out. It was the talk of the town, as they like to say. And
That's what the
I
kids
think it'd
say
be
these
nice
days.
if we could go through and pick apart some of the things. But it is funny how we have these certain things in American history, which maybe you never even know how it even came to be. So I thought it'd be a fun time to take it apart and see what it's all about.
Absolutely.
But before we do that, Brett, we're going to start off with a great American beer.
Hoorah!
It's going to, it's just because of American history. And who better to do the beer than something by Hulk Hogan's Real American Beer?
Maybe it was the label, maybe it was the name. Could be gold or totally lame. What are we sipping on? 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 What are we sipping on?
I don't think he's brewing this. I might use it as a name. Just
Well,
saying.
City Brewery is actually brewing this. This is an American light lager, 4.28% ABV. Or it's a real American beer. Offers an easy drinking experience, light in body and crisp, clean finish, according to Untapped. That's what they say about it. So I'm going to trust them.
Yeah,
We're
you
about
see-
to find out.
Yeah, they have, out of almost 5,000 ratings, it's got a 3.21. So out of 5. I'm not going to lie. I have no expectations of this beer.
I think I'm going to like this beer.
I bet you will. It sounds like Miller Lite.
All right, let's give it a try.
I heard it's made with real Hulk sweat.
All right.
So it's brewed by City Brewery. They're in La Crosse, Wisconsin. In case anybody
Crosse.
wants. I've been through there.
I'm not sure that I have.
Oh, you're missing out. The town of La Crosse are huge fans and supporters of AYSM.
That's what I hear.
So, did you try it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I was too busy looking at the head on there. It's got a good head. It smells like frat beer
Tastes like a light lager.
and crisp. This is going to be amazing when I boil my brats this summer for.
Is that
for
all
my
you're gonna?
cookouts.
Is that all you're gonna end up using it for?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Speaking of that, I actually think that this would be a good beer for brats because it does have a fuller body, actually, to a lager, an American lager. That would be good for that.
Yeah, I keep
That's
getting a
not-
lot
I
of
mean,
head.
no. Oh well.
Don't want to brag. All right, it's not bad. Well,
I could drink it. I
yeah,
could
bet
drink
you
it.
could. All right, Chuck. So, explain to me where you got this again. This topic.
The topic for today's episode, Brett,
Yes.
is
That's
based
the one.
off of Washington's Dream, which was a skit performed on SNL. Main character Nate Bargatze.
Comedian.
Yes, yes. It features General George Washington, who Nate Bargatze played, discussing his vision for the newly independent United States. His dream for the nation includes a unique, often illogical system of weights and measures rather than the simpler, more standardized metric system used by other countries. Going into that, you probably know why we don't use the metric system.
Because we're America, baby.
Because we are America. And a lot has to do with adapting to the imperial system from Britain when they first started coming over here and before we were independent. And they don't have a lot of the things that the metric system has. Weight measurement, we'll use pounds, 2,000 pounds called a ton, but no specific word for 1,000 pounds, which is one of the things in the skits, which is pretty fun how he says it. And here in America, we just adapted of saying half ton, which means 1,000 pounds. So that's pretty interesting.
That doesn't make any sense. In full disclosure, I also don't weigh things in tons. I don't have anything that weighs that much. But
the only thing that I ever know that comes in tons are truckloads, right?
Yeah, which I also don't do.
You can haul, like you have the different truck lanes that have the different ton loads, and then when they describe something, then they tons. You really don't have any grasp of that, though, of what that is, but that's how that came to be.
That is so weird.
Yeah. And then and just going through that, a lot of that is because we've adapted to that imperial system. And over the course of time, as trade had expanded, we became an independent nation. The rest of the world had used the metric system. But we had already set in our ways, and being America, we were slowly to adapt to the rest of the world's metric system, which I think people that actually use it say that it makes way more sense than a standardized system, like system of measurement, like measuring in feet and inches. People say that you'll get more accuracy if you use millimeters and things like that.
Yeah.
What I think makes sense. I think there's a funny thing in the skit where he says you'll have the metric system on one side and on the other side you'll have standard. And is that because they line up? Never. they never do
line up.
They never do line up.
So true.
I thought that was pretty funny. Liquid measurement, a lot of that is adaptation because business did have to adapt to some of using some of the metric system in it. And that's essentially how we came to start using like soda and wine and alcohol and things like that. So liquid, for whatever reason, we've adapted to it. And then the other things that we haven't, milk and paint, gallons, pints and quarts.
I tell you what, if nothing else, we are a nation of inconsistency. We like we do it. Oh, it's a liter of beer, right? Or like, what? Like, why is it just for beer? I don't get it.
That really just goes to the adaptation of other cultures. And I think being the country that we are, just full of, immigrants. Full of ourselves. Well, yeah, there is that part too. That's part of it. If someone asks you from another country, what's American food?
Hot dogs.
That's funny that you mentioned hot dogs, because that's in the second part of Washington's dream. But that's a sausage. And sausages originally came from Germany too. So did we really even invent that? I think we can say probably steak is pretty much an American food, but that's certainly not we're not the only country that serves steak. You know what I mean?
It's beef.
Actually, in the second part of Washington's dream, he talks about why do we have different names for uncooked and cooked beef. And that mainly comes from essentially the same thing, where the Norse came over and had originally conquered England, and they spoke French, and the elite class, which were the French, would eat the meat that was already cooked, and the English would cook the meat, and they had two different names for that. And that's how you end up coming to essentially those two different words for cooked and uncooked meat. Some of it you adapted from either Old French or Old English, and then other of it you just took from the English language. So
interesting.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting, I thought.
Yeah. I didn't do any research on that, Chuck.
You didn't do any research on it.
I got some other facts I'll throw in later, but that's interesting. I've seen both of the skits that you're referring to. And Nate, by the way, is going to be calling in later, so hopefully we don't have any issues and we can have him join us. But yeah, that in the skit, it's actually pretty funny with the calling it two different things, like one before it's cooked and one after it's cooked.
Yeah, they do. They make the whole comical presentation of it is pretty funny. And a lot of stuff I don't want to say take it for granted, but you do take it for granted. You never think like, why is that? Why is that the way that it is? And it's pretty funny to go and find out why.
Yeah, never even crossed my mind. I'm not gonna lie. After you see the skit, you're like, oh yeah, that's odd. But
so, Brett, do you know why we don't have the "you" in some of our English words that our English friends maybe across the pond still use in their words?
Because the world's better without you in it. Oh, sorry, Chuck.
Oh, that was a bad joke.
I thought it was funny.
That's actually from Webster. Noah Webster, when he did the dictionary.
The dictionary?
The dictionary decided that we didn't need the letter U in some of the words. I don't know why he chose that and not.
So he just took it upon himself. He took it upon himself to just take everything out.
Due to the efforts of American Noah Webster, who aimed to simplify spelling and distinguish American English from British English. So I guess we want to separate ourselves from the Queen's English. We sure did, because we sure sound a lot different when we talk than they do.
There must be other letters that were removed. That the U is obvious.
Well, why didn't he remove the K in knife when you don't even need it?
Exactly.
Why didn't we do it in other things too as well?
I'm asking you, Chuck. Why didn't we do it?
Well, that's a good question. We should have did more research and we should have the answer to that. That'll be for the next episode. What are some of the facts that you want to add to what we've talked about already?
Chuck, I appreciate you asking. So when you approached me about doing this, essentially it was funny things that we do in America that other places don't do because, I don't know, we're special. I did not know this, and I don't know if it's a luxury per se, but ice in our drinks at restaurants, a lot of places don't have ice. And or when they do give you ice in your drink, it's not like we do it here in the US where you have 26 ice cubes in your soda. They give you like 3. And I didn't even know that was a thing.
Okay, but I think a lot of that's because they don't have the equipment to make it.
That might be true.
Like the Indian culture, I notice a lot of times they don't order ice. They drink it like they're used to drinking at room temperature, which I always found interesting. And I always made a joke. I'm going to do a Ice to India campaign. I'm going to go over with a freezer.
You're going to try to sell them ice?
A freezer, a suitcase that had a freezer component to it and introduce ice to the country.
I guess I am odd in as much as if I go to fast food place and get soda out of the machine, I barely put any ice in my drink. And maybe it's because I'm cheap and I just want more soda, but I don't know. I don't drink soda that often, but I am also room temperature kind of guy. And I know it comes from when I was a kid and my mom would get us sodas and they were just kept in the pantry and the closet.
RC Colas?
Yeah, dude, RC Cola.
No, RC Cola, I think, is better than Coke.
Ooh, you heard it here first, folks.
Strong statement, I know, but
it is.
I believe it is.
Yeah, but we never kept it in the fridge, is what I'm getting at. It was just kept in.
I know what you're saying, yeah.
And so if I wanted one, it was room temperature. And so to this day, like I drink vitamin water, not a sponsor, but they should be. Room temperature for me. I'm totally cool with that. No pun intended.
A lot of that goes to, I think, like I said, goes back to the culture that you were raised in. I know that's like that for Europeans and beer. I think that they drink it on their warmer side, and they think that we make too much of a big deal of drinking it, having cold everything, because we like cold everything.
Yeah,
I think it depends on what you're drinking. If I'm drinking like an iced tea, then I want it as cold as
you want ice. It's in the name.
Yeah.
Or if you're drinking real American beer, you want it to be cold.
You definitely want this cold.
Yeah, it's true. I don't think you want this warm. Okay, so I will say about this beer, I'm drinking it like fast. I don't know if it's just the time of day and I'm so warm right now.
It's that kind of beer.
Go ahead, say it.
It's a session beer.
It's a session beer, Brett.
Okay, something else that came up as uniquely U.S. is our pharmaceutical ads on television. And I don't know if you watch any of these ads, but I'm not sure why some lady doing goat yoga on top of a mountain is the right thing for hemorrhoid issues or the irritable bowel syndrome. Yeah. Do we really need that? And then the list of the side effects. First of all, the one that always gets me is don't take this drug if you're allergic to it. How the fuck are you going to know if you're allergic to it without taking it? But then it may cause blindness, may cause diarrhea.
Diarrhea is about everything,
right?
Nausea, diarrhea,
anal leakage.
like this. Yeah. The symptoms are a lot of times worse than the whatever ailment you have, or
cause death. What? Sign me up. You're better off just not taking some of this stuff. So. Anyway, so yeah, pharmaceutical commercials.
Well, I want to know is how did they come up? Because basically they all have that basic premise of they're out at the park, they're swimming, they're out on a boat, like
playing with their grandkids.
I don't know, doing a pottery class or you see some of these different things. Yeah, like how did that come up?
So I think too something that came up. I find it. And maybe it's just because we're not exposed to it, but we have some of the weirdest news headlines anywhere and again, I'm not watching
news in France.
Yeah. Guatemala or something like Florida man steals patrol car while naked.
Only in Florida.
That's right. Texas town elects goat as mayor. Of course they do. Of course. Like, why the fuck are we doing this stuff? Like, very only in America, baby. Yeah, I don't get it. So now, I guess tipping is a very unique thing. Yeah, to America. Yeah. I don't know. And I'm sorry, I didn't quiz the other countries around the world, but do they not tip in other countries? Is it just our way of tipping is so different?
So how I think, I can't really speak from personal experience, but I can anecdotally recite what other people have told me. I think in a lot of the American tourist areas in other countries, they've adapted more to the tipping part because they know that's part of our culture and that's just what we do.
Yeah.
And then there's other parts where tipping is not part of the culture and they can't accept the tips. They get paid accordingly by even restaurants and whatnot. They get paid accordingly. Their hourly wage is different than ours, obvious as it should be if they're not getting tipped.
Yeah.
I think even for us, speaking of that, because this seems to come up in conversation, and obviously it comes up a lot in the restaurant business that I work in, that it's even changed for us recently now because of technology and every establishment having that screen that pops up when you go to put your credit card in.
Really? A suggested tip is 25% for you to hand me a donut? Give me a break. Come on.
And by the way, I'll let it be known that the establishment can put whatever they want in there. They can put whatever denomination they want to show up on that screen, or they can put no denomination. So I just want that. I want that to be known, which is fine. I got no problem for someone asking for a tip, but this is the policy that I've adapted to.
Oh, let's hear it, Chuck.
If I'm going to the sandwich shop, that person making my sandwich, I'll give them 10%. I figure I can give them an extra $1 or $2 to the staff. That's going to help me.
Yeah.
No way is that an 18, 20, definitely not a 25% transaction there. It's not full service. You're not coming to the table for things like that.
I struggle with even just getting a beer. If I'm getting a tap beer and it literally is the person like, oh, you want this? And they turn around, pour my beer, and then put it down in front of me. And let's say that's all I'm getting. One beer, one and done. Like, am I really supposed to give you 25% of the $8? I don't think so.
No, I don't even. I'll give him $1.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that because I think that there becomes a point where it's just absurd.
And
Like,
I'm more
does-
about the experience too. What if we're having a good conversation over this beer, like me and the bartender?
Yeah, that's
Like,
part of the 18, 20, 25%. And by the
Yeah.
way, standard tipping now is 20% for everybody that needs to understand that.
Dude, it's easier for math. Just do 20%.
Yeah, it is easier for math. Just
Or
add your
be a dick and don't tip at all. Because, no, for real, if you go and get one beer and you give them a quarter or 50 cents, that's a dick move.
If you're gonna do that, and let's just say you're gonna go up to the bar more than a few times, go up there and tip them every other time you go up there or something. You're giving them something. A lot of times, listen. Also, people, if you're at a wedding and it's cash bar, you better just be sticking a $20 in that tip jar when you go up there. It has nothing to do with what's getting paid for that. It has to do with the interaction between you and the person that's serving you. And you're not paying anything anyway. Just put a $20 in the tip jar. You're going to be going up there all night or whatever. Make sure that they see you do it in the beginning. Say, hey, this is for you. I'm just going to put it in here now. They totally understand what you're doing. They're not going to expect you to come up and keep tipping them every time. It's $20 to you.
Oh, and you're not spending anything on the booze.
Yeah, I know. I'm always astonished at people that, like, which I understand. Oh, they're going to get tipped at the end. Whatever. That's between you and what's going on with that person. It has nothing to do with what they're paying them or whatever. It's $20 out of your pocket for crying out loud.
That's what I do. Like you said, I'll just drop a 20 into the jar and be like, I'm coming back and I'm coming back to you and only you. And they get it.
And so you brought up a story. I actually have it. Not that we have to keep going on about tips, but this was last year. Picking up my wife and my daughter at the airport, and their flight ended up getting delayed twice. So I'm sitting in the parking lot for a few hours, and the only place you can go into is the baggage claim to get them. You're not going to go in and
can't go to the gate.
Go to the gate, whatever, check in through all that good stuff. So the only thing that they had there is this little kiosk area. It had minimal things. You could get a half frozen sandwich, maybe a chips and a drink, which literally I grabbed everything. Like you didn't have to ask for it behind the counter. It was all within. You grab it as you go, you bring it up, and sure enough, I go to pay and they turn the screen around and it has that thing on there. I'm like, well, why do you even have that on there? It's almost insulting at times. And like I said before, depending upon what they're doing, I got no problem. Even if I'm not going to give them the 18, 20%, I'll give them 10%. Like at the sandwich shop because they're making my sandwich. But what are you asking me to consider tipping here for? I'm not getting it. What am I missing? So I think that part has confused people now in America as far as tipping cultures. When to tip, when not to tip, and how much to tip.
Soon we'll be tipping vending machines. Thank you for my candy bar. Here's 25 cents. And not like back in the old school days where you were trying to shake stuff out, which I never did.
Reach your hand up there.
Something else that is very American is the drive-thru. When you go we've got a drive-thru for everything. Go get your coffee, your bank, your pharmacies, liquor. You can go get your flu shot in the drive-thru, and hell, you can go to Vegas and get married in the drive-thru.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't know we had a drive-thru flu shot though. I didn't know.
Yeah, I think you can. Definitely during COVID, you could.
Yeah.
And then I get it. It's convenient, but I don't know. Do you do everything in the drive-thru, or do you go in? There's a part of me, I enjoy going in. If I go in for fast food, there's something about going in. First of all, the interaction with people, that's great. But I usually go in to see how clean it is. Unless I'm familiar with them, I like to go in and check it.
If I can, I like to go in and sit down. I don't like grabbing any kind of food through the drive. If I don't have to, I'd prefer to go in, eat it at the establishment.
Yeah.
Not eat it in the car or not bring it. That's just how I like to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, pharmacy, drive-thru. We do have a drive-thru for everything though, which is nice.
Go get a burger, a beer, colonoscopy. What do you need? All at the same place.
Just Sir, if you could just put this up, we're going to get started.
You'll be done before your burger's ready, sir.
You could be eating it while you have a colonoscopy. That's part of the new menu item.
I don't want a menu when I'm getting a colonoscopy.
While we're doing this, sir, if you could just take a look at our burger menu, you could choose what you want.
Sticking with food, we're excessive when it comes to our portion sizes.
Yep, that's a very American thing. This is why we're all obese and overweight and have diabetes, which is a true thing. If you look at the statistics compared to other countries, we're one of the most unhealthy, if not the most unhealthy
for sure.
country in the world.
For
And
sure.
It is because we're portions and what we serve and what's in our food, which I am, whether you're for this administration or not for this administration, that's fine either way. But I do like that they're starting to put some attention toward looking into that. I think it's a long overdue necessary to find out what exactly is going in some of our food and our processed food.
Red dye 5 or whatever it was. Like, you're like,
even bagged chips, like Doritos and things like that. Like, why is there certain things in there, the dyes that you're talking about, that aren't even allowed in other countries, but yet we have them in every other food item here? That is pretty disturbing when you think about it.
They're banned. In other countries.
Maybe we should start paying attention. You know?
Why? I do think that we, for so long, just let, food as an example, we just let so much shit just go. Whatever you want to put in it. Remember, I don't know, was it 20 years ago? The whole Subway sandwich thing? They're like, the same ingredient in their bread that they had in yoga mats.
I never heard that one.
Oh, Google it. Like, why is that even a thing? Because it gave the bread like a bouncy texture to it. Huh. Like, why are we even doing that? Why are we putting shit that is used?
There was that thing too about the McDonald's buns, how they unnaturally last for, actually American bread, even when you go to the grocery store, it's not real bread. It has so many preservatives in it. How come it has such a long shelf life? That doesn't make sense. So that's why it's really unhealthy for you too.
You've always heard that about Twinkies. Like, they'll last forever.
Yeah, why is that?
That's not a good thing.
You never think about it, but why is that?
Yeah. So I do think too, things that are uniquely American are like our government, tying it in. We did an episode on this with Aaron and Adrian. We were talking essentially about the two-party system and the lack of independent third parties.
George Washington said that. He said, you'll never have true success in a country if you only have a two-party system. He was the one that said that, or something along the lines of that, but he was right.
No, I think you nailed it. Like, why do we only have two candidates? I get it that the networks, they have something to do with it. They don't even want you on the stage for a debate if you're not pulling in a certain percentage of the votes. Like, they don't see you as a viable candidate, and then that's fine. But let's have some pre-debate debates and get some of these other thoughts out there, and let's hear what other people have to say, and not just stick with these two parties. So we need more Ross Perot's. I do think it's interesting too, because it is a freedom, if you will, a luxury to be able to vote. And there are other countries where it's mandatory. You have to vote. And I don't know that we need to make it mandatory. I just wish that people just took it upon themselves to go vote and be heard somehow.
Would you like to know what's actually in a hot dog, Brett?
Nobody wants to know what's in a hot dog, Chuck.
Nobody knows.
In a country where all men are equal. Sir,
how about the slaves? We'll be free. All men will be free.
You asked about temperatures. I did not. That's good shit. Nate didn't write that.
Emulsified meat trimmings.
Oh,
typically mix of pork, beef, chicken.
Nobody asked. Nate didn't write the skit. It was written by guys at Saturday Night Live, and then they asked him to do it. So I assumed he wrote it, but he didn't.
His delivery was really what made it. what
Yeah.
what did it.
So I saw some interviews with him about that skit because I think that the skits have put him like a little bit more common, if you will.
in the zeitgeist.
There you go. And I guess they asked him to do it, and he came in and they do a table read of everything. And he's as a stand-up comedian, it's all about timing and engaging people. And
You're not getting the laugh. You don't know.
and it's table read. And I guess they finally, Lauren Michaels was like, all right, fine. You guys can do it when we do the practice run.
The
But it
dress
was-
rehearsal.
Yeah, there you go. And it was,
Yeah.
according to Nate, it was the last skit that they did. And because of his comedic timing and everything and straight face, yeah, it went over really well. And then Lauren was like, all right, we're doing it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Totally worked.
Check it out. Check it out. SNL. Another uniquely American thing.
Yeah.
Only in America, baby. I know it's before the 4th of July, but definitely want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. Safe. No blowing off your fingers, anybody. All right, Chuck, what's your final thought on Real American Beer by City Brewery?
I could drink this for a day. No problem. Being a Miller Lite drinker, I could do this. I am going to say, though, it might be a little difficult to find. Regardless of when you type it in on your phone and it says that it's there. I've gone to 3 different places and it wasn't there, only to find the 4th place for it to be there. And I have my theories of why that is.
Yeah, I use Beer Finder, and actually Beer Finder through the Real American Beer website. And yeah, I had no issues, Chuck.
Well, all right. Maybe just me.
I will say I am surprised. It is very drinkable, and this is not my jam. To me, it's got almost a citrusy flavor to it. I wonder if you do like a Blue Moon thing, you throw an orange on this or something, how that would be.
You're getting a little too fancy for
It is fancy, I know.
an American lager.
Okay. There you go. Real American Beer by Hulk Hogan. Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's right on the can there.
Yeah, he is. He's a stud.
Yeah. Well,
He knows how to make a beer. All right. If you've enjoyed this episode of AYSM, you could check us out on our website, www.aysm.show. All of our social media platforms. We've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, put fun stuff out every now and then. So come follow us and check us out. We do have video and audio available on YouTube, as well, obviously, as Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts. So appreciate everybody joining us. Chuck, anything final you want to say?
great beer, great times, great conversation, Brett. That's all you
Oh my
can ask
gosh,
for. Thanks for listening in, folks.
I've enjoyed this, Chuck. Chuck! What are we going to be talking about next time?
Oh, we're going to be talking about